And Laoban is still the leader. 3/4 goes in 1:12-2. They're into the stretch, and it's a maiden in front here in the Jim Dandy. Laoban trying to keep on going. Here's Destin. Governor Malibu makes his run at the fence. Laoban is still there. On the outside, Destin. Governor Malibu comes off the rail with a late bid, but it is a shocker. A maiden has won the Jim Dandy. Laoban went wire to wire. Governor Malibu and Destin. Mohayman was fourth in a final time of 1 minute 48.39 seconds. He's never won a race in his life, and he won the Jim Dandy.
This is Saratoga track announcer Larry Colmus, and you're listening to the Paddock Pass on 104.5 The Team.
Welcome, everyone, to the Whitney edition of the Paddock Pass. I, of course, am your host, Brian Mariano. You can find my picks on Twitter at 1045 Mariano. And what a week. We have a ton of stuff to talk about. Not only do we have to go over the Jim Dandy, the Haskell was this past weekend, and one of the best fillies in the country ran on the West Coast, and we have some bad news to report in that race. Also, we are joined live in studio by the pride of Saratoga Springs, calling races at Chippewa Downs. He's back in the 518, Mike James. Mike, welcome back to the Paddock Pass, man.
Thanks, Brian. It's been fun.
Yeah, man. Always a good time on the Paddock Pass. I'm happy you're back. How was your time out in North Dakota?
It was awesome. It wasn't long enough. Of course, it never is. It was a blast. I learned a lot. Learned what it really is to be a track announcer, and boy, is it fun.
Oh, yeah, man. Absolutely. We were lucky enough to have Larry Colmus on here a few weeks ago, and we'll hopefully have him on later in the summer racing season. But, of course, Mike is back in the 518, and he's going to be joining me. You've been seeing my picks on 1045theteam.com. He's going to be joining me picking for the rest of the meet starting tomorrow, Wednesday. Mike, are you ready, man? I've had a pretty good start to the meet. I'm 37%, man. I don't know. You got to be coming with guns blazing. Let's go.
Well, yeah, I'm ready. I wish I was betting 37% on the meet so far.
Yeah, we're not trying to make a ton of money. We're just trying to pick winners. We're not going to give you a ton of prices, although what we're going to do, Mike, you're going to pick every race, okay? Obviously, the first one you give me is going to be your order of preference, so he'll be on your winning percentage. Then you're going to pick what your best bet of the day will be, okay? Then we're going to move. If you have a long shot you like, be sure to let me know about that. We'll put that up on the site every day on 1045theteam.com. And, of course, I love the late pick four, Mike. You're going to have to give me a pick four ticket as well. We got to help the 518 make some money. And, of course, I think pick fours are the way to do it.
Listen, I'll make a deal with you. I'll give you the pick four. You got to give me the pick five because I'm a bigger pick five guy than I am the pick four.
All right. I like that.
So how about a trade-off?
Okay, we can do that. You can grab the late pick four. I will grab the early pick five every day. We'll see if we can make some money. Every day you guys go to the track, make sure you check out 1045theteam.com because we will have picks ready and waiting for you. Mike, let's look back on this weekend. Of course, the Jim Dandy was this weekend. And, of course, we all looked at Destin. We looked at Mohayman. We looked at Governor Malibu. Yep. But Laoban? Laoban wins, a maiden wins the Jim Dandy. What happened, Mike? What is going on here?
I guarantee you a lot of people thought Eric Gio was probably drunk for putting Laoban in that race. I mean, if he puts the horse in a maiden special weight, hands down he's going to beat the field 10 times over. Free money. But he says, no, I'm going to take a shot. I'm going to put him in the big race against the big boys and see what happens. Obviously, not all the big boys were there.
Yep.
They were more down at, in New Jersey for the Haskell, but still, Laoban proved he can go with them.
But Laoban's been in these big races all year, and it's been interesting to see because we were waiting, patiently to hear what Keith Desormeaux wanted to do with Exaggerator, and he decided to send him down to the Haskell at Monmouth Park. We will get to that in a couple minutes. But as you notice, the huge difference was Laoban stays here, runs against Destin, Governor Malibu, and Mohayman, and ends up setting a pretty easy pace on the front end where the track bias was pretty close to being up front to front runners as it is, and runs away with this race at 27-1. I know that ruined my pick 6 and pick 4 ticket. I'm not sure about you, Mike, but I don't know if you really had Laoban on that ticket, man.
It would have killed me, but I will say it did not because I was smart and I stayed away from the card on
There
Saturday.
you go. That's how you do it right there. Of course, I'm a little upset. I was all over Destin. I was on Capital Reason Sports Saturday with Brady Farkas. Gave away Destin.
I'm sorry, by the way.
He's been breaking my heart all year, Mike. He cost me at a nose down at Belmont Park in the Belmont Stakes. He comes back and runs an absolute dud in this race where I think he's going to win the race at the 8th pole and then just does absolutely nothing in the stretch, ends up running third. The horse you're going to have to watch out for in the Travers in a few weeks. And, of course, this episode is all about this past weekend, Travers prep races, and we will get to some of those in a few minutes. But Destin has been killing me, and I'm going to look elsewhere in the Travers, and Governor Malibu is going to be that horse. What do you think?
You think so?
I think so. The horse had a bad trip at Belmont Park. Again, is stuck on the rail in this race as well. If the horse ever gets a clean trip, Mike, he will win, and I think he might get that clean trip in less than 3 weeks at the Travers.
I'm going to tell you who I like.
Okay.
I said this before. I'm a huge Exaggerator fan.
Okay.
However, I think if we see him in the Travers, the horse to watch might be American Freedom if he comes to the Travers.
Okay, so we'll move on now. The Haskell was again this past Sunday
yes.
at Monmouth Park. You're referring to American Freedom, who ran second to your favorite horse, Exaggerator, who won the Haskell. Nyquist setting fast fractions again, falters in the stretch. Now, Mike, my question to you is, you've been all over Exaggerator since March. You've loved this horse all year. And I was skeptical a little bit, especially going to Kentucky, and then he breaks my heart and Nyquist fans' heart at the Preakness. My question to you is he just fit and lucky because all he's been doing is running on wet tracks? He didn't do anything at Belmont Park on a dry track. He wins the Haskell on Saturday, and then he wins the Preakness on a wet track. I think this horse is a specialist on mud. What do you think?
Well, I would say I agree. He is definitely a specialist in the mud, hands down. But he's also proven he can win on a dry track. Has he done it lately? No.
Has he done it lately? Has he done it against the competition that he's beaten in the mud? I don't know. That's where I question, Mike.
I think the key for him is wet track, dry track. You know, you put him on the fake surface. Mm-hmm. He needs the pace.
Yes.
You give him the pace.
And that's what we were talking about pre-show, to where I think Keith Sormo decided late to say, okay, I'm going to bring him down the Haskell because there was going to be pace.
Here's my problem with the Belmont. I don't think it was a bad race by Exaggerator. Truthfully, I think it was a bad ride by Kent. Excuse me.
Okay.
I think he moved him a little too prematurely. I personally think it was more of a who rode Smarty Jones? I can't. Stuart Elliott. Stuart Elliott.
Yep.
I think it was more of a Stuart Elliott premature move with Smarty Jones on Exaggerator in the Belmont. Had he waited maybe another 30 seconds, another eighth of a mile or so, am I saying he would have won? No, but I don't think he would have finished dead last either.
True, and that bias was set. That race was set up for Creator, and obviously the bias was against Creator this past weekend because there was no pace. That's why they put Gettysburg in the race. My issue wasn't so much with the way Kent rode him, was as much as that I think the taxing 3 races in 5 weeks really took a toll on him, and I think this was a great move by Keith to end up going down to the Haskell, because if he runs a dud and doesn't run great, you probably don't go to the Travers. You'll wait and then run in like the Jockey Club Gold Cup.
And I agree.
And then point him towards, the Breeders' Cup from there. I didn't have an issue with him going to the Haskell because of the pace scenario. My question is, will he be able to duplicate this race in less than 3 weeks at the Travers, especially because it's going to be at Saratoga? And will you get a hot pace for him to run into and make that big sweeping move?
Here's my key, folks. Okay. And I want everybody to listen into this. Watch the weather forecast starting Monday of Travers week. That is what I did
So you're proving it for me. You just proved my point for me, because that horse is an absolute specialty in the mud. I'm taking that as a win, and we're going to move on from there. Come on.
Well, here's the thing, and I'm going to throw this in quick. Preakness week, I watched the forecast all week to see if it was going to rain. Mm-hmm. For the Haskell this past week, I didn't watch the weather forecast at all. I just figured, you know what? It's supposed to be bad here. Maybe it'll be bad down there. And I wasn't going to touch the Haskell. And I said, oh, look, it's raining. It's sloppy. I'm going to bet him. just on pure principle. So just watch the weather forecast for the week.
Yeah, and I feel like that horse really needs a wet track. Until he proves me otherwise, that's going to be my bias. Of course, you guys out there, send us your comments on Facebook. Tweet at us. I'm at 1045 Mariano. Mike, you have a new one now.
Yes, it's announcer MJ44.
So hit us up on Twitter. Make sure if you have any comments, anything, if you like the way Exaggerator ran, if you really disagree with something, let us know. You guys push this show along. Mike,
I've got big shoulders. I can handle it.
Yes. Yes, we've heard that before, Mike. It's okay. So we're going to look at the standings before we move on to other races this past week. Irad Ortiz Jr. still leading the jockey title right now with 17 wins. John Velasquez with 12 in second. Mechanicville's own Chad Brown is now atop of the trainer standings. We are rooting for him as much as possible.
But
he has 9 wins. No, don't you give me a but. Don't you dare.
Hey, listen, I want him to. I hope he does.
Uh-huh.
But we know Todd.
You're right. You're right.
Todd owns Saratoga. I hope Chad pulls it off.
We're a quarter away through. We're 10 days into the meet. Chad has 9 wins out of 36
we're not
starts.
over yet?
No, we are far from over, my friend. Far from over here. Chad has 9 wins out of 36 starts, hitting at a 25% clip. Todd Pletcher has 8 wins out of 41 starts at a 20% clip.
Ooh.
And Kieran McLaughlin, who had that red hot 7 out of 10 start, has cooled off a bit, but he's still in third with 7 wins. Godolphin Racing and David Jacobson tying atop the owner standings with 3 wins. Now, Mike, we're going to move 3,000 miles away to Del Mar, to where this was just the story of my weekend. I was 3 out of 4.
Del Mar and Trevor Denman.
I was 3 out of 4 in 4 pick 4s this weekend.
Yikes.
And it's just absolutely. I'm not looking for pity, even though if you guys want to give it to me out there in the 518, I would love to have it.
You're not getting any pity from me.
I know. The door is right over there if you want to leave anyway. Moving on. Champion filly, now mare Beholder, ran in the Clement Hirsch this weekend against Stellar Wind. And, of course, my pick 4 ticket had her singled at 1-9.
I would have done the same thing.
Oh, my God. Mike, I'm sitting there watching that race at the top of the stretch thinking, okay, she's getting challenged a little bit, kind of like Songbird did in the Coach Club American Oaks, and then she shook away.
Watching the replay, I must say I'm glad I did not bet that pick 4.
Oh, my God. Mike, I'm happy no one was around me at the end of that race because I was not very happy anyway. But to watch, and I hate blaming jockeys for their rides, but this one question, I was just so confused on how Gary Stevens didn't even show her the whip at all until past the 8th pole, and that's when Stellar Wind was already a neck in front.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if he was so
you
confident.
Just can't do that.
I don't know if he just felt like he was so confident that he was going to beat Stellar Wind anyway. I would really question this ride. I don't know about you. I really hurt to watch that happen.
Here's my thinking on it. It was a bad ride. You can't sit on a horse, no matter how good you are, till past the 8th pole when you got a horse right on top of you. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you let's look at Rachel Alexander, for example.
Yeah.
When she actually did get tested finally, after she jogs in the Kentucky Oaks, 2 weeks later wins the Preakness. She gets challenged there. She dug in. You never saw Calvin Burrell get cocky and say, I got this under control.
Yep.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Gary Stevens is a great rider.
Mm-hmm.
He's a Hall of Famer. You can't take that away from him.
True.
I just don't care. I don't care how confident you are in a horse unless you know for sure you're a winner, that you don't touch a horse till after the 8th pole. You just can't do it.
Yeah, and it took me watching the race a few times to wonder what Gary was actually thinking there. And it's unfortunate that, maybe, Mandela babied this horse a little too much, babied her to where she knew. We all know she's really good. She's beaten a lot of good horses, and maybe last year's Breeders' Cup Classic could have went differently if she ended up drawing in and not scratching the week before. But sooner or later, you still have to keep training the horse as if, she's still running at this point. It seemed like he was kind of babying her and putting her in easy spots to set up, the Pacific Classic, which they still haven't decided whether they're going to run the Pacific Classic or not.
Here's my thinking. I'm no thoroughbred trainer, or a harness trainer at that matter. No matter how good the horse is, you still have to train him.
Yep.
I mean, look at. I know we're going off topic here, but let's look at the Hambletonian, which is this weekend too.
Yep.
Ron Burke's got Southwind Frank, who's hands down by far the best 3-year-old colt trotter in the country right now. If you ask Ron Burke, you think that horse doesn't get trained to be prepared for the race?
Yep.
Am I saying Mandela does it? No, but he could very well be taking it too easy on her. Maybe he needs to push her some more.
Well, and I think that's the case. And of course, you are very high in the harness world. We will get to your Hambletonian picks at the end of the show. I'm going to put you on the spot because I'm not going to lie. Two summers ago, I was doing so bad at the track during Whitney Day, and I started actually handicapping the Hambletonian because I didn't want to look at thoroughbreds anymore. Ended up hitting Moreno in the Whitney that got me out that day. But of course, we thank you for listening here on the Paddock Pass. We are joined by Mike James, Saratoga's own. And of course, Mike, now we talked about some races at Del Mar earlier, and of course, we have the first foal of the American Pharaoh realm that was American Cleopatra ran at Del Mar this past weekend and wins, which is not surprising, but the surprising part is the price. 7-1, Mike, you got an American Cleopatra. Did you have her?
Are you kidding me?
I mean, how can you let that horse go at 7-1?
At this point, if you honestly, any Pioneer of the Nile horse at this point is how do you not take your chance? I mean, are they all American Pharaoh? Absolutely not. But I mean, come on, 7-1.
Yeah, I would have been all over. Give me my $16 for my $2. Thank you very much, and I will run to the window.
My stupidity, and I admit this manly.
Yeah, there you go.
I want to cry saying this. Here's why I did not bet American Cleopatra. As you know, I was there at the harness track on Sunday.
Indeed.
I had a very good day.
You frequent the establishment often. Yes.
Unfortunately. I caught the pick 5.
Very good.
Caught a pick 4 at Chester. So I was having a very good day.
Mm-hmm.
I hammered Exaggerator.
Yeah.
Should have had more on it, but
So what you're telling me is you had an awesome day, but you probably have some bad news for me right now.
Yes. In all my haste of the day and having a good day, and forgetting where I parked my car, as I told you.
Yes. Yes, you did.
Forgot that American Cleopatra was running.
Oh, Mike, if you were listening to the Paddock Pass last week, you would have known. We were all over that horse. I couldn't believe you were going to get 7-1. And, of course, make sure you check out Brady Farkas' show, Capital Region Sports Saturday, and Levac and Wolf. I will be joining Brady Farkas at 9:45 every week to update anything going on at the track on Saturdays. I will be there Fridays with Levac and Wolf on at 2:15. Everything you need to know about horse racing and all of your picks from me and Mike James will be up at 1045theteam.com. Mike, we'll go back to Saratoga now this past weekend. Another prep that was, a little smaller scale for the Travers in 3 weeks was the Curlin Stakes run on Friday.
Yep.
And this was the Chad Brown show. Of course,
that's an understatement.
Oh, my goodness.
The only way it would have been any more of a Chad Brown show is if he had every horse in the field.
I mean, having Gift Box, who ran in many huge races earlier this year, this Horse Connect coming off a massive allowance win beforehand. These two hooked up at the top of the stretch, and they put on a show all the way to the wire, Mike.
And I will say this, too. I watched the replay.
Mm-hmm.
I missed the race, but I watched the replay. It was a great stretch run. And Larry gave it a great stretch call like he always does.
Larry's one of the best, man. We were lucky to have him
Let
here
me
at Saratoga.
tell you this, too. Being a track announcer now, and it's crazy that I can even say these words. When you get a great stretch battle like that, you can see it coming.
Yep.
Way ahead of time. And if you do, this is what I learned. Don't try and go crazy right away.
Yep.
Let it happen.
Let it mature a little.
Yeah, you got to let it happen a little bit. Get into it, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
You can't not get into it, but you got to kind of build it up. And if they really start duking it out, this is what I've learned. Because they can be duking it out, and then all of a sudden one horse can pull ahead.
Yep.
So then it's not as exciting.
Sure.
But once you know they're really neck and neck, there's nothing between them.
Yep.
You really get into it and have fun with it.
And it's unreal because Larry brings a lot of those races to life, and he brought this one to life a little bit. Connect scored in the Curlin. Him and Gift Box looks like they're both pointing towards the Travers. I think they're going to be on my tickets, Mike. I don't know if I can let them go because you got prices of even money and 8-5 in the Curlin, and you're not
going to get that in the Travers. Not against the likes of Nyquist if he still comes.
Nyquist, Exaggerator, if Mohaymen comes back, of course you're going to have Lauban's already said that he's going to go there. And, of course, Destin and Governor Malibu. You are going to get 15, 20 to 1, and you best bet that I will have some money on those two getting $30 and $40 on the price line.
Lauban will not be 27 to 1 in the Travers, I don't think.
No, it will depend on the pace scenario, but I think a lot of people will look at that last win in the Jim Dandy and put at least a $2 win bet down.
I'll throw him in exotics for this reason only. He proved to me Saturday that he can go with the big boys.
Yep.
Even though Nyquist and Exaggerator were not there, that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, the question's really going to be for me whether he can get the extra eighth of a mile. I mean, he showed really tough tenacity all the way down to the wire in a mile and an eighth. The mile and a quarter against better competition. Not that, I'm still hung up on Destin. I still like Governor Malibu, but you didn't have Exaggerator. You didn't have Nyquist. You didn't even have American Freedom. And, of course, you're not going to get that type of pace in the Travers. That's going to be interesting to watch. Of course, we will have your picks every day. Make sure you check them out. And, of course, that'll be a big one on Travers Day coming in 2.5 weeks. I will have probably a nice padded lead in our picks by then, but we will see as we continue on starting tomorrow, Wednesday, August 3rd.
Shall.
And we will move on to, I think, the most impressive score of the entire weekend, Mike. And that was in the Grade 3 Bowling Green.
Wait a minute, Flintshire won?
Oh my! Won. It looked like
hold on.
a
Sorry.
workout, for gosh sakes.
Sorry, were there 3 other horses in that race?
There were 3 other horses in that race. And you know what I found funny, Mike, was I'm sitting there with a good friend of mine at the track, Jerry Curran, and we were watching the race, and they did everything they could to have that horse lose. Stuck behind the leader, boxed in at the half-mile pole, and Javi made a great move at the quarter pole by not saying, all right, I'm going to wait and try and find a hole to go on the rail. He sweeps the horse knowing he's much the best, and all he did was loosen the reins, and the horse just took off.
He never touched the stick to him.
No, I don't think I'd be surprised if he even had a stick on him. It was unbelievable.
And honestly, I don't even think he shook the reins on him that much.
Mike, this horse, taking away Beholders, all of the other horses you think, this horse is the best horse in the country. Turf, dirt, route, sprint, whatever you want to think, this horse is the best horse.
I agree.
And I would love to hear your guys' comments out there in the 518. If you disagree with me, tell me why. I know there's a lot of big Chad Brown friends out in the 518, but this horse is by far the best. When you win the Manhattan the way that he did, and then come back, and I know this is only a Grade 3, so it's really not that big a deal.
Doesn't matter.
But the way that he won was just so impressive, Mike. And hopefully we're lucky enough to see him run later in the meet.
I wish I could sit here and tell you there's a horse in the world. I'm sure somewhere there is that could beat him on an off day.
Yeah. But there's a lot of good turf horses out there. I know that, but
here's the matchup I'd love to see, and if it manages to somehow happen at the Breeders' Cup, I will book my ticket to the Breeders' Cup as late as possible. I want to see Tepin and Flintshire go at it, but I don't think it will happen because Tepin's a filly, and she's amazing.
Tepin's a filly. Will probably stay more towards the mile distance as opposed to going to longer distances like Flintshire likes.
Yes.
So, I mean, you'll probably see the Flintshire Big Blue Kitten matchups.
How about this one? Let's make up a theoretical race really quick.
Okay.
On the turf.
Yep.
Any distance.
So we'll say it's a mile and a 16th.
Mile and a 16th.
Okay.
I'm not going to give post positions anything. We're just going to point of entry.
Yep.
Ouija board.
Okay.
Flintshire.
Yep.
Tepin.
Yep.
And
we can throw like a main sequence or something in there.
Main
As
sequence.
big. 4-star Dave. You want to go
Wise
that far
Dan.
back? Wise Dan. Okay.
4-star Dave. I was drawing a blank on Wise Dan there for a second.
You know who I'm taking and who's the morning line favorite? Flintshire.
Yeah.
Flintshire's the morning line favorite at 8-5.
But I could see that being the race of the ages.
Yeah, and it would be interesting to do, especially because earlier this year on the Paddock Pass, we had a mock March Madness draft or a bracket that we had with the American Pharaohs and the Man of Wars and Secretariats, and the fans voted out
Which
there.
I think I voted at least once.
Oh, yeah. Secretariat ended up winning that, beating American Pharoah in the final. But that would be a great race to watch. Right now, we know that Flintshear is the best turf horse in the country, in my opinion.
I've got an idea.
Oh, boy.
We named, 7 horses?
Yeah, at least 6 or 7. Yep.
Let's come up with 8 or 10 if we can.
Okay.
Let's pose the poll.
Yep.
Again.
Okay.
And let's see what they think.
So what we'll do is we'll throw the poll up on our blog at some point this week. I will make sure we'll put it on Twitter, okay? And we'll see what the people think in the 518. Is Flintshear by far the best turf horse that we've ever seen? Maybe we're jumping to conclusions on that, but
or why don't we do this too?
Okay.
Let's open this up more. We'll throw in our top 8 or whatever we come up with. Let's open it up to 16.
I don't know if you can come up with 16 turf horses.
Well,
that's my point.
Well, but it doesn't have to be just current horses. We only named current horses too.
Let's do. All right, here. We'll lay it down right now. We'll come up with 8 great turf horses.
Yeah.
Up against Flintshear.
Okay.
And we'll see what people think.
Okay.
Okay. We'll put the poll up on 1045theteam.com. Make sure you check it out and vote, because next week on the Paddock Pass, we're going to go over the results and we'll see what the 518 thinks. Is Flintshear by far one of the best we've ever seen? We'll find out. Mike, this is the big weekend coming up for the older horse division at Saratoga. The Whitney is this weekend. And, of course, another horse coming off a big performance on Belmont Day is coming back in the Whitney. Frosted, coming off of last year's Travers. Didn't beat American Pharoah, running third, obviously, to Keen Ice and American Pharoah in the Travers last year, but is back at Saratoga and is a massive 3-5 favorite in the Whitney. Is there any way Frosted gets beat? They are running the race. I guarantee you they will open the starting gate and they will run the race. I'm not sure. In my opinion, I really don't think that Frosted gets tested at all in this race.
Can Joel Rosario fall off?
Listen, that's not right, man. That's not right the way that happened last year, okay?
But hold on. You did ask me.
Yep.
Can he lose? Did you not?
I did.
Can Joel Rosario fall off?
In a less than 1% chance, yes. Yes, he can.
That's how he loses.
I think that's the only way he would lose.
However,
Frosted is going to be... No.
I think, and I looked at the morning line odds.
Okay.
I don't think he should be 3-5. Should he be the favorite? Absolutely.
Really?
How is FNX 7-2?
I mean, hard runner, ran second to American Pharoah in the Breeders' Cup Classic.
Yeah.
There's no real pace. Why not?
I could see FNX being the one to... I mean, it's not really the upset because he's second choice in there.
Yeah.
But FNX could beat him. I mean, just because, as we all know in horse racing, race is not won on paper.
Yeah, big horses that didn't get in that could add speed. Samrat was one. Majestic Harbor was one. A lot of pace that's not in the race, and it's going to be tough. Comfort's probably going to be the one on the front end.
That's my biggest question mark.
Is that
Comfort?
Horse? Yeah, I mean, coming off of a win down at Belmont Park, and 3 in a row for that horse for Todd Pletcher.
He's going from ungraded to a grade 1.
Agreed. And the way Frosted won the Met Mile, it's going to be pretty tough for that horse to even come close. I honestly think Frosted sits right off the pace. They hit the quarter pole. He probably wins. I don't think he wins by as much as he did in the Met Mile, adding the extra 1/8 of a mile here. I don't think that's a real question mark for him, but I think he wins by at least 5. And I think that's an easy single for all of your pick 4s. This weekend at Saturday at Saratoga, it's going to be a pick 5, not a pick 6.
Yeah.
Because that horse is going to be an easy single for everybody.
He should be.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to make money, this I'm going to take this back a step here.
Okay.
Yesterday, no surprise, I was at simulcast.
Okay.
This is the way I've been looking at it lately. If you see a big favorite on the paper that you say shouldn't lose, but you think there's still that slim possibility, take your shot. I screwed myself royally on, I believe it was one on Friday.
Okay.
In the first race at Saratoga, I had my pick 5 ticket picked out. I loved Jimmy Jerkin's horse.
Okay.
I forget what the horse's name was. It was a 2-horse. Pletcher had
You really screwed yourself out of that one then because you can't even remember him.
Yeah. Grab the trigger or something the trigger.
Yeah. Okay.
And Pletcher had the 7-horse. He was 1-2. I looked on paper and I said, this horse, even said to the guy, I said, is there any way this horse loses?
Oh, yeah. And the horse was 10-1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember that. Okay. Yep.
My original ticket, I had 1-2-7-9 written down.
Ah.
Okay. I was 4 by 5 by 1 by 4 by 1 or something like that.
Okay.
Cost me, I don't know, $60, whatever it was. 40.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I'm going to save money. But I ended up not saving money.
No, you didn't.
This is what I did. I singled Todd Pletcher's horse in the first leg.
Yeah, that didn't
and
work
went
out.
deeper in the last leg of my pick 5 where I would have singled Rick Violet's horse. Let me tell you, when he nosed out the 7, yes, I had him across the board. I had the exact and the triple, etc.
Okay.
But that does not make up for almost having the pick 5.
No.
Let me tell you, when I get to the 5th race and I'm alive and I look at the pick 5 and it's paying $9,000 with Rick Violet's horse.
Yeah.
Top of the stretch, the 9 is rolling right by the 5. I'm going, crap.
Yeah.
This is the worst case scenario.
Well, Mike, that's why you obviously gave me the pick 5 duties and you're going to take the late pick 4 duties because obviously you don't know when to single and when to spread.
Yeah, well,
so now that we have that taken care
when
of.
the 5 held on by the slimmest of margins, I was happier than can be. But if you want to try and make money, I say try and beat Frosted. I did not hit the pick 5 yesterday, but I said 10 Sendor was 4 to 5 morning line.
Yeah.
Should have jogged. I said, I don't think so.
All right, well, I'm going to put you on the spot then because I'm not going to try and beat Frosted. I'm going to single. So which horse out of those 5, or 4 others rather, or 5 others, I'm sorry, are you going to beat Frosted with?
The only one I think that has a chance is FNX.
Okay.
For a price, throw Noble Bird in there.
Okay. All right, those are your 2 picks by Mike James himself, Saratoga native, and he's going to be joining me making picks every day on 1045theteam.com. I will give you the early pick 5 ticket. Mike will give you the late pick 4 ticket. We're going to help you try and make some money this weekend. I'm going with Frosted. Mike says try and make some money, go elsewhere. When you guys go to the window, don't be afraid, all right? Go in, get your big tickets in the early pick 5 and late pick 4 rather. Mike, thank you for joining the show, man. Good luck in our pick challenge. I cannot wait to beat you.
I have confidence.
Horribly throughout the rest of this meet.
And I got an possible upset for the Hambletonian this weekend. You said we were
your
go
Hambletonian
back to
picks, of course. Before we leave, go ahead, give us your Hambletonian picks.
Southwind Frank on paper should jog.
Okay.
However, and I'm going to make sure Andrew Harris hears this because I'm going to make him proud, and I'm going to say, watch out for weightlifter K. If he makes it into the second heat of the Hambletonian, he could have an upset chance. That's all I have to say.
There it is, guys. When you're out there this weekend, you're betting on the Whitney and you hit because Frosted runs away, you're going to go and take your winnings, play it on the Hambletonian as well.
Or when he loses and I rub it in Brian's face next week.
Obviously, that's not going to happen because you're going to absolutely destroy that late pick 4. I'm going to hit the early pick 5. Everyone in the 518 is going to make money. Mike, good luck this Saturday and the rest of the year
too, buddy.
on our picks. Thank you for listening, guys, and make sure when you go to the windows, man, go all in on those pick 4s and those picks 5 because we're going to make sure all your pick 4 tickets are winning ones.